Okay, Congress passing a massive bipartisan housing bill with overwhelming bipartisan support. Builders say it could be a boost to getting more homes on the market. Lawmakers stripped out a provision that would have forced developers to sell newly constructed single-family rental homes within 7 years. Industry groups said the now abandoned rule had already frozen billions in housing investment and stalled new construction projects across the country. So, Katrina, are you excited about this housing legislation, or is it kind of meh to you?
This is a very delicate topic because we don't want institutional companies purchasing homes that first-time home buyers would purchase, right? But you also have to be very careful that you don't over-regulate so that people, like what's happening in New York that we were discussing, that you're basically affecting the ability to make profits, right? So you can't over-regulate builders because, especially the housing market being as difficult as it is right now, you want to encourage supply because we still have very low supply in the market on a nationwide basis. Of course, you have markets like Florida, which are doing extremely well, and the Florida luxury market is off the charts. And the migration going into Florida, there's $39.2 billion net worth just came into Florida last year, and 361 sales above 10 million were recorded. That's a sale a day, basically, above $10 million. But then you still have first-time home buyers, which can't break into the market because they don't have enough money for a down payment. Mortgage rates are too high. The cost of insurance is still high. Property taxes, that's a big topic. And hopefully, you know, that's moving forward slowly but surely.
It is a big topic. So, Dagan, does this housing bill move the needle more in the right direction or more in the wrong direction, in your view?
It's all, anything coming out of Washington is always a sausage that it smells good, but you're not quite sure everything that's in it. And I'm not eating it.
What parts of it are you most concerned might be the most
the House,
inedible?
Katrina was talking about, the House did mercifully strip out the requirement that developers sell newly constructed rental homes within 7 years of completing them. It was a bone of contention. That was in the Senate bill. Trump wanted it out. And the builders were saying, that's not even long enough for us to make back our investments. Got rid of that. Also in it, but like you don't get huzzas for removing something that is detrimental to the housing market when it's supposed to help the housing market. Streamlines environmental reviews and cuts regulations for manufactured housing. That's good, but it still bans corporate landlords from buying up more than 350 houses. It's just government intervention in telling the investor class what you can and can't purchase. And we will not know how devastating that is or the downside of it until there is a downdraft, like a real downdraft in housing, and there is a lot of supply on the market, and you need those institutional buyers to come in and snap up homes.
And that's a great point.
And prevent neighborhoods like new development from becoming wastelands, which is what happened after '08.
Can I play a little bit of devil's advocate? And feel free to disagree with me. Here's some of my question about that. My parents, who owned a home in 2008, like they were underwater or whatever, like it lost value for a really long time and took a while for that value to recover. But if you're a new entrant, and they've talked about how unaffordable housing is, isn't it nice when prices come down so that they can finally get in? I know if you're an existing homeowner and you get wiped out or you're underwater, then that sucks, for lack of a better word. But when I'm waiting for another '08 so I can finally buy my home, but then the institutional guy comes in and yes, soaks up the excess supply and helps save the economy like we saw in 2008. But you have all the normal people who were like, wait a minute, that was my only chance to get in. I'm just wondering, Dagan, if that's some of the tension behind, I think, the way they were trying to put together this bill.
You're right. Prices do need to ease. That it's the component of mortgage rates and prices coming down. But back in '08, it was a foreclosure crisis where people lost their homes and there were neighborhoods of empty houses. So that was a different story. And I'm not comparing what is going on now, but if you buy high and you wind up with negative equity and a mortgage that if interest rates are going up, that's adjusting higher and you can't make the payments, that's you wind up with neighborhoods where you want at least people to own those homes and keep them kept up. So they're two different things.
But right now,
that was a massive foreclosure
Throw a
crisis.
quick wrench into this. I would just say this. I was always told you can't plan when you're going to be ready to buy a home or when you're going to want to. Kind of like, sometimes people try to plan their family or time it to the exact moment, but things happen in life and you go with the flow. So I was always told you do the best you can at the time, given the conditions. So I went and did some math because Katrina, you and I were talking about me buying a place during the pandemic. I would not be able to buy the same place right now. Prices have actually gone up, and with the rates higher, the numbers and the math wouldn't work. But that doesn't mean that there aren't things in Manhattan right now that I would not be able to buy if I chose this moment in time to buy. What I would have to do is substantially cut my expectations, cut my square footage, and change my neighborhood. But there are things that I could do. So if now was my time, I think some of this has to do with I can't get into the market. People say that because I can't get what I want.
Right.
But you could get something. I don't know.
No, can I layer something into this conversation in terms of like who's getting in the market, whose time is it? Let's look at this. Okay, a new report is showing that single Gen Z women are buying homes at nearly double the rate of single Gen Z men. According to the National Association of Realtors, single women made up 35% of Gen Z buyers. Okay, so I throw that in there. Like,
You know why?
is this? Do you love it, or is there?
Can I do this?
I love it.
Because they're bearing children.
But they're single. Wait, they're.
I'm very passionate about this topic too.
Okay, so go. Fine, then go.
So this is happening because women are no longer waiting for a man to create stability. And they also realize, I also feel like a lot of younger women are watching divorcees that said, hey, I didn't know what was going on with my finances. And I didn't know where my husband had his money or how he was making it. And so they're left on the streets. And now they're figuring, I get the chills as I say this, but so now they're saying, you know what? I'm going to empower myself. I'm going to buy a house. I need stability. I need to create stability for my children. Because that's what women do best, right? Is consistency and routine, finding a good school system, and also creating generational wealth for themselves and their children, not waiting for a man to do it.
And I'll add to that, I think women tend to be better budgeters sometimes.
Yes.
So they can save, they can look at, what's coming in and what's going out and save for the down payment so that you have that. And to my previous point, I think that women will adjust their expectations a little bit too and say, this doesn't have to be forever. I've spoken to some men that will be like, if I can't get it in that neighborhood or whatever, then I don't want to do it. They'll adjust their expectations and say, you know what, I'll build it, we'll grow. In time, things will change. I can always sell it. I can always refinance it, and I can always try to do something else. So I just think there's some flexibility in women's personalities.
I did this because women are built to make families, and it's just in our nature to want to create home and nest.
Nesting.
Yeah.
I think another complicated layer, we've spent the previous 4 years during that administration telling young men that they weren't good enough, that they were bad, that they were racist, that they were invaders, that they were, I don't know, name your term, that you could change your pronouns if you want. And so I think we've beaten down that young man, sort of male generation, that I'm wondering if that generation feels lost. And we need to do a better job of encouraging them and women to settle down and form families if that's what you choose to do. But enough of the hatred and I love feminism, but all the I'm going to do it myself and I don't need a man because you're the racist invader. I think some of that kind of got mixed in there.
And I agree with you, Taylor, and that's a great point because I don't want to come off as a man hater because I'm totally not. I like the old traditional family unit where the woman actually stays at home. You know, people think that's so odd that I believe that, but I think that's how we were naturally meant to occur. You know, is that the man goes out, he provides and protects, and then the woman's at home. And yes, I love the fact that we can go out and be businesswomen, but I think feminism has hurt a lot of that.
I kind of wish men were buying more homes. I kind of wish this stat wasn't right where it is, but we'll keep debating on this.